Parshas Shemini, Tavshin Ayin Hey. We are back after Pesach, and now we have about 5 weeks left to Shavuos. And each day during the Shiur Parshas we try to improve and do something a little better. We try to take a step up each day, and now we're just left with 5 weeks until we have to be worthy of Kabbalas HaTorah. And this week, Parshas Shemini, we discussed the Chanukas HaMishkan at the beginning of the Parsha. And the Pasuk says as follows, Vayomer Moshe el Aaron. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Aaron HaKohen, Kirav el HaMizbeach. Come close, come to the Mizbeach. Va'asei es chatoscha v'yesel esecha. Moshe Rabbeinu tells Aaron HaKohen, go, Kirav el HaMizbeach, come close to the Mizbeach, and do the chatos and the oila. So the Torah's Kayanim brings down, why did Moshe Rabbeinu have to sort of prod Aaron HaKohen? Why did Moshe Rabbeinu have to give Aaron HaKohen a push and say, come on, let's go, come to the Mizbeach, do the Avodah? Why did Moshe have to ask Aaron HaKohen to do that? So the Torah's Kayanim brings down that Aaron HaKohen, when he saw the Mizbeach, he saw the figure, the dmus of an egel. And we know the shaykhs that Aaron HaKohen had to the egel. That Aaron HaKohen, when he looked at the Mizbeach, he saw a figure of an egel on there. And he was therefore bashful. He was very hesitant and apprehensive to come to this Mizbeach, to do Avodah. He was afraid to come close to the Mizbeach to perform the Avodah. So Moshe Rabbeinu, says the Medrash, Moshe Rabbeinu told Aaron HaKohen, Lama ata boish. Why are you bashful? Why are you embarrassed? Why are you not coming close to the Mizbeach? Ki lekach nivcharta. Why are you being embarrassed to come here? This is the reason. This is your job. We've worked so hard for the past time to work our way up to this. Aaron HaKohen, you can't back out now. This is your job. This is what you were chosen for. So why are you embarrassed now? You have to come to the Mizbeach and you have to do the Avodah. There's no reason for you to, you shouldn't be embarrassed. So the Nesivos Shalom asks a question on this, what we just said now. The Nesivos Shalom asks, why shouldn't there be? Moshe Rabbeinu, it says that Moshe Rabbeinu asked Aaron HaKohen, Lama ata boish, why are you embarrassed? Nesivos Shalom, okay. You want to say that Aaron HaKohen really, of course Aaron HaKohen did not worship the Egel. Aaron HaKohen didn't have a big shaykhus to the Egel. But he certainly had a little, so the Egel had something to do with Aaron HaKohen. Maybe he didn't do the actual chayk, but he had a bit of a shaykhus to it. So what's Moshe Rabbeinu's question? Lama ata boish. Why do you have any embarrassment upon maybe what you think you're seeing in Egel? You listen, Aaron HaKohen did have a little shaykhus, so that is why Aaron HaKohen might be a little embarrassed. So the Nesivos Shalom says something very, very interesting. He says like this, on the actual chait of the Egel, the actual sin of the Egel, says the Nesivos Shalom, Klal Yisrael did not really have a choice. It was the Ratzon Hashem that there should be an Egel, and that there was an Egel, and that Klal Yisrael would worship the Egel. Why? And it tells us, the Medrash tells us that what was learned, the thing that came out of the Egel was we learned the whole derech of tshuva from the Egel. And Klal Yisrael, so to speak, didn't have the choice in whether there was going to be an Egel or not. So the real chet involving the Egel, says in the Nesivos Shalom, was not the fact that the Egel was made and the Egel was produced. You know what the real chet of the Egel was? The chet was that when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from the mountain, we see in Parshas Kisisa, it says Moshe Rabbeinu came down and he saw the Egel, but they were happy. They were celebrating. There was a joy surrounding the Egel. That is a chet. That is a worse problem. He says the actual Egel, they didn't have much of a choice. It was the Ratzon Hashem to be an Egel at that point. But to be happy about it, to celebrate that there's an Egel, that's not the way a Yid acts. When a Yid does an Aveira, normally inside, the Yid is broken. A Yid is totally, there's no happiness in himself about a chait. And over here we see Not only were they not broken by the Egel, but Moshe Rabbeinu comes down and what's going on here? They're celebrating. They're celebrating this Egel. That is not the way a Yid behaves. That is a real chait. So Zok Nesivos Shalom, a beautiful pshat. So that's what Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Aaron HaKohen over here. I see Aaron HaKohen that you're looking and you think that you see a demus of an Egel, you see a figure of an Egel on the Mizbeach, and you're broken inside. You're looking at it, and inside it's really, really bothering you, just from that connection that you may have to the Egel. And since, what was the real chet of the Egel? The real chet of the Egel was the Simcha. And we see that you're not the Simcha, you're upset, you're broken inside about it. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, what's the problem? Why shouldn't you do the Avodah? Even though you think you had a connection, no, that's not a connection. Hashem wanted it. It was the Ratzon Hashem to have an Egel. But the real chet, the chet of being happy, no, Aaron HaKohen, you're upset now. You see, so you have no shaykhs to that. You have no shaykhs to the celebration and happiness that's connected to the Egel. You have no happiness about it at all. To the contrary, you're broken. So therefore the question, what are you embarrassed about? You have no shaykhs to the real problem that there was with the Chet Egel. And Nesivos Shalom brings a beautiful explanation from Chaim Vital on this inyan, on this question of Lama Ataboish Ki Lakach Nivcharta. A beautiful, beautiful pshat in this. And it's a different meaning of what we've understood and what we've said all along. This whole question of Moshe Rabbeinu, of Lama Ataboish. Why are you embarrassed? Why are you hesitant right now to step up the back, step up to the Mizbeach, and do the Avodah? So we said, L'kach Nivcharta. What was our pshat till now? We said, L'kach Nivcharta. This is what you were chosen for. This is what we've been waiting for. We've been working for this. This is your job. You can't back out now. You can't just leave. There's one expert here. You're the expert. This is what you're meant to do. That's L'kach Nivcharta. It's Dafka, says the Nesivos Shalom, a beautiful pshat from Chaim Vital. You know what L'kach Nivcharta means? L'kach Nivcharta doesn't mean that this is your job and this is what you prepared for. L'kach Nivcharta means Adarabah. Because you're broken inside, and because you're an anak, and because it bothers you, and because you're not all haughty about it, L'kach Nivcharta, because of this midah that you have, Aaron HaKohen. Because inside you have this midah of not feeling big about yourself, about feeling humble, about feeling broken. That is why a different meaning of L'kach. For this, for your reaction. Not for, like we said before, the task. Not because you're prepared for this task. No, but it's for how you act and the way you are right now. Rashi says on the pasuk, there's a pasuk in this week's parsha also, it says, Vayetzu, Vayivorchu Hasa'am. That Moshe Rabbeinu took Aaron HaKohen with him, and they went out, and they gave a bracha to Klal Yisrael. What was the bracha? We know the bracha was, V'yinoyam Hashem Elokeinu Aleinu, and Yehirotzayin Shetishra Shechina B'maaseh Yadeinu. That was the bracha that Moshe Rabbeinu took Aaron HaKohen, and they went out and they gave this bracha. And what do we say? The Medrash tells us that during the Shivas Yemei Miluim, when Moshe Rabbeinu was putting up the Mishkan and taking it down each day, they were practicing. During the Shivas Yemei Miluim, when Moshe Rabbeinu was doing that, you know what happened? The Shechina did not come. The Shechina did not rest on the Mishkan during those days that Moshe Rabbeinu was putting up the Mishkan and taking it down. No Shechina. And you know what happened? Klal Yisrael saw that Moshe Rabbeinu is rehearsing, he's putting up and taking down the Mishkan by the Shivas Yemei Miluim. They got worried. The Shechina did not come in. Klal Yisrael was starting to think, we're doing all this work for the Mishkan. We're doing all this work to prove and to show and to have a Mishkan to show that Hashem was mechaper on the Chet Egel. And now, Moshe Rabbeinu, you're putting up the Mishkan, you're taking it down, you're doing all the warm-up, you're doing all the spring training, and look what's happening. There's nothing is, the Shechina's not coming. They had a problem. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, you know what, it's not the problem. That the Shechina is not coming. You know what Moshe Rabbeinu said? Let's go ahead and bring Aaron. Bring Aaron HaKohen. You know why? Moshe Rabbeinu said Aaron HaKohen is more chashuv than I am. And through the avodah of Aaron HaKohen, you don't have to worry. The Shechina is going to come. Nesivos Shalom. Why is that? What's going on? Okay, you're telling me Aaron HaKohen was greater than Moshe Rabbeinu? No, Aaron HaKohen was not greater than Moshe Rabbeinu. Oh, so you want to tell me, like we just said now, that Aaron was an Anav? Aaron was an Anav. We know there was no greater Anav than Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was the biggest Anav. The Zok Nesivos Shalom, that there's a difference between the Anivas, the being humble of Moshe Rabbeinu, and the being humble of Aaron HaKohen. And we'll see now why Dafka, because of this, the Anivas of Aaron HaKohen, that the Shekhinah came down. It says Moshe Rabbeinu, the Anivas of Moshe Rabbeinu was because, you know why? Moshe Rabbeinu went up. He went up to Shemayim, and he saw how awesome, how amazingly great HaKadosh Baruch Hu was. Moshe Rabbeinu saw that. So when once Moshe Rabbeinu saw that, his Anivas was based on the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was so great. What am I? I saw how great Hashem is. Look at me. What am I? I'm nothing. I'm nothing compared to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That was the Anivas. That's where Moshe Rabbeinu got his humbleness from. But the Anivas of Aaron HaKohen was something totally different. Aaron HaKohen was an Anav because he held of himself to be nothing. Aaron HaKohen, without seeing the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that Moshe Rabbeinu saw, Aaron HaKohen had an Anivas because of himself. He felt all along that he was nothing, total hispatos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And on that, the Pasuk in Tehillim says, the Pasuk says in Nesivos Shalom, Leiv nishbar v'nidkeh elikim lo yisivzeh. When somebody's broken, if somebody comes to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if someone comes to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you're broken inside, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot ever turn away. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't turn away a tefillah of somebody that's broken. And that was Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen was an Anav because he felt inside himself, without seeing the greatness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that Moshe Rabbeinu saw. Aaron HaKohen was an Anav. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, Lama ataboish ki lekach nifcharta. It's davka for this midah, for the way you are, the way your anivas of feeling hispatless, the way you feel small about yourself. That is something that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves. And that is the reason that HaKadosh Baruch Hu chose you. And now we have a whole different explanation and a whole different understanding, first of all, of what it means, ki lekach nivcharta. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves people who are not full of themselves, for lack of a better way of saying it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves people who, without seeing someone that's greater than them and then feeling, oh, what am I compared to this person? What am I compared to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? HaKadosh Baruch Hu likes people who are humble because that's the way you're supposed to be. And that was the midah of Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen was an Anav and he was humble. Ki lekach nivcharta. Aaron HaKohen, you could come to the Mizbeach and do the Avodah because Hashem chose you. One pshat was lekach nivcharta, it's your job. The other pshat we learned tonight is lekach nivcharta. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves that. And it's dafka because of this midah that you have that HaKadosh Baruch Hu picked you. And this is a lesson we all have to learn. That when it comes to davening, when it comes to serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when it comes to now counting and growing toward Kabbalah Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want us to take a step up each day of Sphira and think that we're greater. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to take a step up in Sphira and come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and realize that what are we? We're nothing yet. We're nothing. Are we roy for Kabbalah Torah? Are we ready? Are we ready to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves to see someone that's humble. And that is the lesson we learn in this week's Parsha from Aaron HaKohen.